Okay, so today we are going to talk about the effects and the impacts of the Industrial Revolution. We're going to talk about labor unions and the social impacts that they had as well. So let's get to it. Let's start off with the general population of England. So you already know that the population increased, but why? Well, mortality rates decreased, meaning people weren't dying at such young ages anymore, thanks to improved science and medicine. There was also an increase in birth rate, meaning that more and more babies were being born. So that results in a boom in population. England's population had doubled from 8.3 million in 1801 to 16.8 million in 1850. And by the time 1901 was here, it had risen to 30.5 million people, almost doubling again. This boom in population meant that there was a large labor pool for employers to choose from. More people working means that the standard of living increased for many, but not for everyone. So let's compare, folks. If you were wealthy and you most likely lived in a large suburban home, meaning that you didn't live in the heart of the city, you didn't feel many of the daily burdens that those living in the city felt. You would have had a healthier diet. Your housing was much better than the tenements folks in the city were forced to live in. You also were able to afford cheaper, mass-produced clothes. Now, if you lived in the city, that was a different story. If you lived in the city, there was no housing authority, no development plans like a subdivision would have in the suburbs. There were no building codes, and certainly no sanitary plans, as in plans for how the sewer system would work, garbage collection, that sort of thing. Many times, folks lacked housing altogether. There was a lack of education because people, specifically children, had to work in order to support their families, and there just wasn't time for school. So these folks also didn't have any sort of police protection at all either. So you can see how people living in the cities lived quite a different life than those who were wealthy and living in the suburbs. So what else? Well, because of industrialization, the balance of power across the world shifted. England was not only the only country experiencing industrialization. Belgium, Germany, and the United States also went through a period of industrializing. Now is when there began to be industrialized nations and those that are still unindustrialized or developing. We like to this day, we will refer to nations as being industrialized and unindustrialized. There was also an increase in urbanization, which is when the population moved from farms to living in cities and working in factories. Because there are more factories, the environment is impacted as well by the amount of pollution. On the bright side, though, there is an increased number of people who are educated. The working class was tired of the poor working conditions. Remember that they worked an average of 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, in oftentimes very dangerous conditions. The middle class began to grow as there began to be more and more factory owners, shippers, bankers, and merchants. As the middle class grows, there becomes a divide between the upper and middle classes. So with increased education and workers becoming more and more unhappy with their working conditions, there is a rise of labor unions. The labor unions did three major things for workers. It encouraged workers to organize strikes and demand better working conditions, and it also increased pay. The labor unions also advocated for laws that improved the lives of all workers, men, women, and children. And finally, the labor unions wanted collective bargaining to occur between labor and management. They also fought for workers' rights. So collective bargaining is when you have a representative from the labor union that goes to the bosses in the factories and they talk and they try to discuss, what it is that the workers want and what it is that the business want, and they try to come to some kind of mutual agreement on things. You've got to know what collective bargaining is, okay? All right, but how was society impacted by the Industrial Revolution as a whole? Well, 4 ways. Cheap labor. With the increase of factories going up, factory owners needed people to work in their factories. Women and children were often hired because they could be paid a lower wage than a man. You already knew that. Which leads us to our second effect. Laws and reforms were introduced to put an end to child labor. Both Great Britain and the United States reformed labor laws so that children from the ages of 9 to 12 could not work more than 8 hours a day, and 13 to 17-year-olds could not work more than 12 hours a day. And remember the Mines Act? It also reformed labor, stating that women and children could not work underground. Eventually, the Child Labor Committee was formed to end child labor. Public education is the third social effect you need to know. By the 1850s, public school systems were starting in the United States, although free public schooling didn't become available in Western Europe until the late 1800s. And finally, suffrage for women. The Industrial Revolution had been pretty amazing in that women could go out and get paying jobs. But while they were granted freedom in that realm, they were still denied the right to vote. While women were not granted the right to vote until well after 1900, these women fought and marched and protested for the right to vote. Okay, that is it for today. Next class, we are going to be talking about like capitalism and socialism and that kind of thing. How the economic effects, what are the economic effects of the Industrial Revolution? I've got a really fun activity planned with some candy, so you want to make sure you're here and don't miss that. I'll see you then.